Guys, for all joining in. You're going to see some amazing. So, PropStream has so much, so many features. So we're gonna jump in and let him show you guys what it has. And I mean, you guys are always asking, how do you find deals? How do you find deals? How do you find deals? You got to find them off market. If you're looking on MLS, man, good luck. So they're going to give you guys a free trial. They're going to show you guys how to use this. So, man, let's jump on into it. I'm excited.
All right. Awesome. So, Burton, it's all you, man. Go ahead and take it away. I'll let you share your screen. I guess you need your screen share, I bet.
Yeah, I'll probably need that from you. But as we get that going, everybody, thank you so much for investing your time with me today. As Nate mentioned, I mean, yeah, our system is definitely going to help you guys generate off-market properties. If you're looking to build private money, we can show you cash transactions and who bought properties in cash. So a lot to show today. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I'd like to do before we just dive in here and get lost is let me show you guys a quick outline. You're probably wondering, okay, what can you do though, right? So let's just clear up that question. What can we do? This is what we can do. We can do lead generation, which is one of the most important parts in this industry. And then following that, we can analyze an individual property or vet an individual property. So let's break them both down really quick. When it comes to lead generation, we've been doing this for 15 years. There's three different types of investors we've come across. Investors that just need our data, which is practically everybody that logs in. And so that's what I call a part one user, where they're just going to build a list. They're going to search, they're going to filter, they're going to save their lists, and then export that list of addresses, homeowner names, property characteristics, mailing address if it's an absentee owned property, and then take that wherever they want to go. You get 10,000 records every month with our subscription. There's no yearly contracts or anything like that. It's just a month-to-month subscription. Now, part two is skip tracing. Over the years, we realized, in like 2016, 2017, we realized, man, the skip tracing thing is not going away. As more and more people have cell phones and emails, they're going to utilize that marketing method. And so within PropStream, you can skip trace. It is an additional cost. It's 12 cents if it gets results. So if you skip trace a single address and that address gets a phone number or an email, it's 12 cents. If it doesn't get anything, no charge at all. There's no minimum, there's no maximum. It's just 12 cents across the board if it gets results. So you can build a list, skip trace it, and then export it, and then start cold calling or upload it to a dialer perhaps. Or part three, which is marketing. Some of our users don't have the luxury of calling on their own or going to the post office after work. They need help with the marketing. And that's the last part of lead generation with PropStream. You can build a list, you can skip trace that list, and then you can market directly to that list. We'll give you a free website when you establish a campaign. So this website could be, hey, I buy vacant properties if it's a vacant property list that you build. Then you can send them postcards to get them to that website, voicemails, or emails. And you don't have to set up the website. If you want to scratch that and just send postcards with your phone number and email, or mention that phone number and email on the voicemail or email, then go for it. But that's the first part of PropStream, lead generation, okay? The second part is someone's going to call you back, and that's analyzing a property. You can search an address, and we'll show you the property details, the financial details, like whether it has a mortgage and how much the balance is, and if there's a lien, how much that lien is. And then you can access our public records and MLS data nationwide to run comps. So you can know how much that property would potentially sell for. Or you've heard the term after repair value. That's what you can use to generate that value. You can use public records or MLS data. And you can print those reports as well, okay? So just wanted to show you guys this outline. A lot of people ask me, hey, you guys have a lot of data, but what are you guys doing with it? This is what we're doing for you. We allow you to manipulate our data so you can build a list, skip trace it and market to it, or just search an address and get as much data as you possibly can on that property. We do have additional features like the mobile app. which you can use for driving for dollars, comping on the go, skip tracing, setting postcards on the go, etc. Team member accounts, list automator, which is an enhancement, but this is what we have to offer. Now, your next question is, okay, but what kind of data do you guys collect? And this is the data that we collect right over here. So the data that we collect, as you can see, is residential, commercial, industrial, vacant land, office space, agricultural, exempt properties, industrial. Well, I just mentioned that. But on top of that, we also collect every single one of these bubbles. The way that data works is it doesn't come from one provider. It comes from a multitude of different providers. And why did we do what we did? Let's time travel before like 2006 when we established our business. In 2006 and before, an investor that needed data on a property, yeah, good luck. If a homeowner called you and said, hey, I got your postcard, I'm interested in selling my property, you needed to get as much information on that property as soon as possible within those first 5 minutes of that phone call. And back then, again, internet was scarce. Our system and other systems similar to us was scarce. So you had to either already have that property's information or ask a lot of questions. How old's your building, Mr. Homeowner? As if they know that stuff, right? Well, we decided to go get that information for you, put it together so that at a click of a button, you can view that property's detail. So this is the data that we collect. Now that you know what we do, the data that we collect, let me show you our system. And let's start with analyzing a property. I think it's important to show you guys how all this data comes together when you get a lead to call you, okay? So I'm in Southern California. When I log into PropStream, it's going to zoom in to my market, but our system's a nationwide database. So you don't have to just search in Southern California. You can search anywhere. And this is why we've been sought after, is because back in the day, you couldn't invest out of state unless you had a whole team in a different state, right? So now that's a whole different story. A single woman, a single man can actually run a full operation nationwide, right? Because you just need data and enough data so that you can make an offer, know what situation the property is going through, and so forth. So let's say I marketed to a property, and I'm in California. So let's say it's a property at Richmond, Virginia, for example. Back in 1990, early 2000, yeah, that would have never happened. But now it can. And if someone calls me back, I can just zoom in on the map and go into Richmond, Virginia. And as I keep zooming in, what's going to happen is it's going to show me the parcels of the property. So as I zoom in and zoom in, the parcels populate. Oh, well, that kind of makes sense because you guys collect parcel boundaries from one entity. So there's a source that we work with that all they do is collect parcel boundaries. So, okay, let's buy your data. Put it in our system. Now it gives us parcel boundaries when we zoom in. Second thing we did is bought all this other data, the tax assessors data, there's pre-foreclosures, open mortgages, etc. So that now today you can click on a property. So if this property with this white shed in the back gave me a call, I can click on it. It's going to give me a brief description of that property, but all I need to do now is go into the details, and this is what PropStream's data provides you. The ability out of a click of a button to know everything about this property that we've collected on your behalf. So what you're seeing here, we have on 153 million plus properties, whether it's Mary's house I just clicked on right now, or the house down the street right over here, I clicked on with the white car in the back and go into the details. Now I know George and HP owns the property. But here's what we're giving you, okay? So again, it's property data, financial data, and then the homeowner situation, like if it has a lien or a pre-foreclosure or vacant, etc. But at a click of a button, if someone were to call me in Richmond, Virginia, or in this case for Henrico, Virginia, I can now see a brief description or summary of what's happening. This is what we call our dashboard. First thing we're going to give you is a property photo. It's Google Maps. And if you want a bigger image, just go ahead and click on it and we'll make that a little bit bigger for you. Since it's Google Maps, you can use the little person here and drop them on the street and see street level view if you needed to. Take a look at the neighbors. right? The landscaping, property characteristics are down below, just as a quick reminder. If you hit the X button, we go back to the property details. And then we're going to show you property characteristics, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, square footage, lot size, year built, property type, if it's on or off market. Right? Nate just talked about huge thing right now is how to find off market properties. There's tons of them. Right? We have the data, millions of off market properties, right? So here's one of them right here. It's an off market property. We're going to let you know if it's in an HOA, the type of owner, if the owner lives there, if they're answering their mail, which is occupied, or if it's vacant, not occupied, how many years they've lived in this property. So here's the thing about this data, right? It's not here to just stare at. It's here to really change. We've really evolved how investing has happened. And I've been blessed to do this for nearly 10 years. But before, when we first started, it was asking these questions. Oh, so when did you buy this property? Oh, we bought it 23 years ago. Okay, well, you had to write that down, right? So how many beds and bathrooms does your property have? Because again, back in the day, you didn't have this information. But now it's a whole different story. Now I can just imply rather than ask questions. I can say, hey, my records show that your property is about 60 years old. When's the last time you did the roof? Is there any issues with the foundation? Because a 60-year-old property, starts to show its foundation. Rather than asking about how old the property is and expect them to know that, I'm going right into implying that question. I could even use the length of ownership as potential leverage. Man, you guys have lived in this neighborhood for a long time. Has it changed for the better or for the worse? And I just shut up. Because if the moment they said it's changed for the worse, well, George, let me help you get out of here and get into a better neighborhood in that case, right? But that could be a reason they want to sell. Just you've lived here long enough and you're tired of it. Or the 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. Maybe they need a second bathroom. Never needed it before, but maybe the family got a little bit bigger. Kids got older. Now they need an extra bathroom. That's probably a reason to sell. And these are things that we collect so you can talk to the homeowner with confidence, but also understand that there's a story happening here, right? Lived in this house for a long time, had to share 1 bathroom, 60-year-old property. So you got to continue upkeeping this property. And that's just the first part. The second is just going to show you values that we've collected, like what we've believed the estimated value to be. Please don't ever talk to the homeowner about this. Keep this to yourself. I'll explain why in just a little bit. Comparables. I'll show you how many properties sold around that property and what their average sell price and how fast they sold on the market. I'll show you if there's a mortgage. There's a mortgage on this property. So I can't just offer him $1,000 for his property. Yeah, because that's not going to cover the mortgage. And he's going to say no. I need to make sure that mortgage is paid off. So the offer has to be definitely more than $24,000 or plus or minus. Equity lets you know if there's skin in the game and whether you should pursue it or not. Monthly rent and gross yield. Public record. So yeah, bought it in 1997 for $70,000. But this is our dashboard. So whether you clicked on this property or the neighbor, you go into the details and boom, Pearl, I'd like to talk to you about your 60-year-old property. I see you guys have a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom. Have you considered upgrading perhaps? Lived here for 8 years. How are the community, right? And then I see she has a mortgage. This is all of this together. That's the goal. Is so now that you get a phone call, you don't have to spend 2-3 hours trying to go on these different websites to figure out what's going on. We've tried our best to aggressively grab that so you could just talk, build the leads. When they call back, search the address, start talking. Okay. Now, in this case, we're talking to Pearl now. This is our dashboard. But if you're a data junkie like I am, all this information that you're seeing is down here. We have different tabs that you can click on. The first one is property details. So it tells you the owner's information, property characteristics, building size, land location information like zoning, and even school district. That could be powerful. Hey, Pearl, did you go to the Henrico County Public School District? Oh, yeah, you did? Great. Did you play any sports? You play basketball? Love basketball. And start getting into talking about that, right? Build relationships just for simply asking about the school district, right? legal description if you're writing out a contract, tax information, sell information. Now, eventually, once you find out what that opportunity is, man, it could be, yeah, it's 60 years old. She wants to buy a newer building. Or, you know, she just had a child and she needs a bigger bedroom. Her and her family need a bigger bedroom, right? Or 8 years, the community hasn't grown for the better, it's grown for the worse, and she wants to get rid of it. Or the mortgage, right? She's not happy with her interest rate, but her credit is good now. She just needs to get rid of the property and the mortgage. That could be a reason to sell. There's tax information. So maybe she wants to sell because the property taxes are increasing. Regarding the mortgage, that's here in the mortgage and transaction history. So I can go in there and see the open mortgage that she has on the property, and then how many times this property has been sold and who it's been sold to. Documents and reports. So the assessor's map, any deeds on the property. These can be purchased here on the right side. You'll see the price here. So again, powerful information like with the mortgage. Once I build that rapport with her, I can flat out ask her, hey, how's the Virginia Credit Union treating you? I see you have your mortgage with them. Oh yeah, they're crap. I don't like them. They're rude to me. Every time I call, they're always putting me on hold. I don't think they have enough staff there. Well, let me get rid of that for you. Right? Again, there's so many levels of pain here that it doesn't have to be listed on the market. We don't have to wait for her to call an agent. We don't have to wait for her to go into pre-foreclosure. There's just a lot that this property has to say. Finally, when the time is right, when you're ready to make an offer, that's this area right here, comparables and nearby listings. And notice how every time I click a different tab, you get different information. When you click on comparables and nearby listings, the whole bottom half changes. In this area, you're going to get new boxes. We're going to show you the comps, any properties that have been flipped in less than 2 years around this property, any neighbors, the neighbor records. We're going to show you the cash transactions so you can see what buyers are willing to pay for, and the other listings. But again, I'm here to be honest, everybody uses the comparables box. And in this area, you can source county records. So you can see what the county has recorded as a sold property. And the benefit with public records for those that are new or just don't know the difference between public and MLS records, something I had to learn the hard way. Public records, the county, they record everything. Like if a property goes through and you can see it down here, a cash transaction. So if I buy a house privately in cash, the county will still record that. If I buy a property through an auction, the county records that. If I transfer a property to a family member, the county records that, right? So it doesn't have to be a sell through an agent. Public records will record all of that stuff. MLS, on the other hand, that's if it only sold through an agent. That's the difference between the two. And a lot of people like the MLS because of the photos. Like when a property is listed with an agent, we tend to have these photo buttons here that you can click on and see what the property looked like when it sold, right? So if you're trying to get an after repair value, well, take a look at the picture. So property looked like it's been rehabbed and repaired? Yep. Well, this property off Middlebury Drive sold for $165. We now know what, $179. We now know what a 179 property looks like in this market. And I'm in Southern California, right? Our properties with the same characteristics would be like $500,000, $600,000 in my market right now because it's just overpriced California, right? But now I have that. And oh, guess what? Her house is the 21960. And so this is more like her house, which is the one that sold for 165. So there's a comp that sold for 165, similar characteristics. What does 165, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom look like? It looks like that. Okay, this is definitely completely rehabbed. So I'm able to see the material. I'm able to see the type of rehab. I'm able to see why that was the sell price. But I'm also able to see in comparison, that's why it's called comparable, that, you know, the homeowner, right, Pearl's house, when we walk into it, it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbow. It's probably going to be messy. There might be mold. The roof might have a hole in it. But now I have what I call a line drawn. I know the max value of what her house could potentially sell for if it's been rehabbed, right? But her house is not rehabbed. So when I make my offer, I can now justify it. When I go up to Pearl and say, Pearl, I'd like to buy your house. I'd like to make an offer of $90,000. She's going to be pissed. They always are, because they want full price. Let's face it, I would. If I didn't know anything about property and you wanted my property, no, you got to give me top dollar for my house, because I'm not educated in real estate to understand what you have to go through after you buy my property. Sure, I want top dollar, but when I say, Pearl, I can't give you a full price, and she says, well, why not? The neighbor down the street sold for 165. I can explain to her that the 165 is fully renovated. And I'll throw it back at her. Pearl, if you renovate your house like this, call me before you call anybody else. I'll just give you the cash. I'll give you 165. And she's going to realize, I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't have the resources to get my house to look like that. So now my offer of $90,000, $100,000 isn't really offensive anymore, because I'm able to justify the position of her property. Her house is maybe 50, 60% compared to this property. So this is our comps area. Again, this is the final part. Once you use our data to identify what the motivation is, you're going to want to go into comparables, choose comps, whether it's public records or MLS records, we'll let you decide, or you can even use both side by side. But please make sure to use the filters. Like you saw a few moments ago, if you don't use the filters, you'll get 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, and so forth. So add your filters. Make sure you're sticking with sold listings, unless you're just wanting to see active listings. This is sold status. This is the MLS listing results. And then for public records, if you are going to use public records, my best advice when it comes to using public records is stick with finance transactions. Finance is when a bank approves a 30-year loan, which they don't easily do. Well, nowadays. Before 2008, different story. But nowadays, just click on finance. These are properties that, again, the bank has approved a 30-year loan on. And after you apply your comps filters, so please, again, make sure you're finding or using the same filters that are just like your property, right? So this is a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom. You know what I would do? Minimum 2 bedrooms, minimum 1 bathroom. If I don't want any 3 bedrooms or any of that stuff, go to max for bedroom and put another 2 in there, and it will just show you the 2-bedroom properties. Okay, so make sure to apply your filters. Last thing you can do is you can increase or decrease your distance. So maybe half a mile is not good enough. Maybe you need more because the lot sizes are big. Therefore, these properties are big. Maybe you want to go 1.5 miles. I don't recommend going up in distance at all unless you absolutely have to. What I would recommend before you change the distance is increasing your date range first. Try to stick to a tight area, and then go 6 months out, go a year out, go a year and a half out. And I would say after a year and a half, if you're still just not getting any results, okay, then maybe extend your range a little bit. But the reason I don't encourage extending your range right away is because you might be, again, like stepping out of an environment. And Marion Hill could be like a high valued area where the values don't make any sense compared to your area. So increase date range first before distance. That's just usually best practice. But after you apply your filters, tell us what class, in this case, residential and single family, your filtered results are now here on the right-hand side. All the 2 bedrooms, all the 1 bathrooms. You can see their square footage, lot sizes, photos if they're available, so we can click on them and, again, see what they look like. But that's the idea of running a comp. It's not to find this perfect value. It's to find properties I can justify my offer. And these have to be similar properties, right? Because the moment they're not similar, the homeowner could say, whoa, that house is not like mine. I don't believe you anymore, right? So make sure you apply your filters. Once you get your results, choose the ones that you like. Let's say number 2 and number 4 and number 6. You can now hit actions and generate a report. And that's it. That's literally analyzing a property. Tons of investors are doing this. I train them all the time on how to do this. Click the property or pull the property up, use the data so you can talk with confidence, right? You're an investor, so keep your chin up, right? You got to talk like an investor, right? They sense that you're not an investor, you don't know what you're talking about, you might lose the lead, right? But here you're able to see whether you need to offer, high or low, or if it's even a deal. If I'm going to offer 90K, hey, she has a $50,000 loan that covers her loan and gives her 40K in her pocket, right? And this property, based on my comps, here's my report, very powerful report. This is a report I can keep, or I can even email to Pearl. Hey, Pearl, I'm going to send you a report. Can you double check it? Yeah, sure. Is this your property? 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom? Yes, it is. Great. Well, here's my search criteria. Exactly like your property, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 mile, year and a half, everything that's sold with similar square footage, etc. That way she knows I'm not trying to pull a fast one on her. And then it shows her the low price, the high price, the average price. She's always going to say, oh, I want the 177, Burton. I can't take anything lower than 177. And I'm going to say, well, you know what, Pearl, I agree. Your house probably could sell for 177. Let me show you where that's at. Your house, the comps. Then you wanted 177. That's letter C right over here, Pearl. Let's take a look at that. And now we can show her what those properties look like, right? So I could say, well, Pearl, first off, a C is in the Marion Hill area. And I don't know how that got in there. I'll talk to my team about that. But your property is more in the A and B area, right? You're looking at 154, 165. And she's been in the neighborhood for a long enough time that she knows, yeah, I'm right. C is not compared to her property. So A and B is in her vicinity. So 177 is already out of her mind. And I didn't have to argue with her, just show her the facts. So now she's going to say, well, I want 165 then. Okay, well, 165 looks like this, Pearl. And here's the inside of that 165 property. Pearl, I'd love to give you 165 if your house was fully renovated. I don't mind giving you cash for that. But in your case, your house with the trash, the landscaping, the hole in the roof, the plumbing issues, I think your house is about 60% there. And that's why my offer is 60% of 165, 90,000, right? That's how our system works when it comes to vetting a lead. And so the only way we got here is because of all that data that was collected. And this, again, is a huge part in your business, is someone just called you and I need to get all that data on that property. And the one thing I want to leave you guys off with when it comes to clicking on a property and pulling up the details, no 2 properties are the same. Right? Like this property goes from property details to comparables. Here's a property I was just looking at this last weekend in Miami, just randomly. And when I go into the details of this property has every scenario you could possibly imagine. Instead of property details to comparables, there's a pre-foreclosure on this property. There's a lien on this property. There's a bankruptcy on this property. And they listed it on the market. I'm sure because of all of that that's happening, they're like, yep, we just got to sell and get rid of this. This is how strong our data is. So second part, first part, however you want to look at it, that's analyzing a property. What I just showed you right now was how to search an address, click on it or type in an address, how to find the opportunities, talk about the year of the property, talk about the beds and bath, talk about the school district, talk about the taxes, talk about the mortgages, talk about the data that you're looking at, because those might be the reason they need to sell the property, right? It doesn't have to always be a pre-foreclosure or any of that other issue that everybody's going after, right? Running comps. These are public data or MLS data. Make sure you're using filters and then look at the pictures. Has it been repaired? Okay, great. Then that price that you just saw, that's the repair price. That's the after repair value or ARV. And then print your reports. Okay, so that's analyzing property. Again, huge part of your business. What I want to show you guys now, I want to wrap this presentation up, is show you guys how to build a list with PropStream. I'm not going to talk about skip tracing and marketing. We do have help videos on the left-hand side if you're interested in that. But I want to talk about the most important thing is I need leads. Simple as that. Everybody's offering 10, 20% of proper on when it comes to on-market properties. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to get these properties before they hit market, right? So instead of searching an address, the other part of PropStream is build a list. And to do that, you search a county, a city, or a zip code. So instead of searching an address, I can now say, how about, let's say, Suffolk County, New York. So first county came up to my mind. Suffolk County, New York. Boom. Instead of searching an address now, Burton, here's the 500,000 records we have in our server in Suffolk County. So here you go. We just dumped it on the table for you. Now, if I wanted to, I can go through each one manually. Just click on the property, and does this remind you of something? Yeah, every property you click on is going to look like this. But I don't have time for 500,000 records. So what we've included in your search engine is a filter. Now, we've done some preliminary filtering. We will show you 8 categories. So we'll take those 500,000 records and say, oh, okay, well, 6,000 of them are on the market. 6,000 of them are in pre-foreclosure. That's a lot, actually. Bank owned, cash buyers, liens, etc. But I would just recommend going into the filter, because in the filter, those 8 are the first 8 plus the additional 11. So we have like free and clear, we have bankruptcy records, delinquent properties, divorces, vacant land, tired landlords, senior owners, zombie properties, tons of options to choose from. So I need to build a list. I need to choose a list. So first thing you want to do, and I'm going to give you guys 4 rules that you follow, and you're always going to filter the correct way. Okay. So the first rule when you're pulling up a market is choose a list. That's rule number 1, grab a list. So after you pull up that market, go and filter. And what list would you like to start with? I like to start with the senior owners today. Okay, well now instead of 500,000, we're at 132,000 records. That's rule number 1, pick a list. Rule number 2 is make sure it's off market. So go to MLS, and where it says on market, make sure you hit no. Now, unless you want to deal with an agent, go ahead and hit yes. If you're looking for off-market properties, hit no when it says on market. Okay, so that's in the MLS status section. That's rule number 2. Rule number 3, must have equity, right? No equity, what's the point in flipping the property? And wait 10 years for it to gain equity and then flip it? No, that's not going to work. So must have equity, right? So you're going to go into our valuation and equity area right over here. And where it says estimated equity percentage, put a minimum. Or you could put a minimum dollar amount. Now, unless you're doing something creative, then you can probably put a low equity. Like I want nothing more than 10% equity or less. I want the low, or as you can see, negative equity properties. If you want negative equity, we have it. But for what you guys are operating, I would recommend putting a minimum equity in like 20% or maybe 30% or 40% in equity. That way there's profit to be made after the rehab. Finally, that's rule 3. So lists, off market, equity, minimum equity, okay? Rule number 4, the final rule is what are your preferences? Because again, PropStream has a lot of data. So back to the top, just let us know what you need. Well, the type of senior owner I'm looking for is one that's occupying the property or is absent from the property, otherwise known as non-owner occupied, right? Absentee owned, you might have heard that term. Or if you don't care, you keep it under any. For this one, I want absentee owned. I don't want you living in this house. That way it's easier for you to just let it go. Now, the other thing you need to worry about is, okay, if they're not in this house could be rented out. So the occupancy status, is it occupied by somebody or is it vacant? So the homeowner's not there. They're not answering their mail there either. That means it's probably abandoned or like a summer home or something, right? So that's owner occupancy. Are they there? Are they not there? And is someone answering their mail or not? And again, we're only able to do this because we collect that vacancy data from the Postal Service. They're there every day. They'll let us know who's answering the mail and who's not. And as you continue downward, we have different filters. So property characteristics like, hey, I don't need a commercial building. I just want residential. And I don't want a duplex. I don't want a condominium. So the property type is single family only. I don't want 5 bedrooms or 7 bedrooms. I want 2 to 4 bedrooms. Right? These are just my preferences. So as you work from top to bottom and go from one section to the next, to pre-foreclosures and add it or don't, like, are there any senior owners that are in a default right now? Yeah, there's 3 senior owners that are not in their house, they're not answering their mail, and they're in a pre-foreclosure right now. So this is a very motivated list right here. But as you can see, it's only 3 properties. And you'll work long enough in this industry to know that you shouldn't be stacking too much unless you're on a very limited budget. But the reason I don't encourage you to stack too much is when they all say no to you, well, now you got to build another list. So if you want to stack a lot of different records together to find that person in that very rough situation, you could do what I just did. Senior owner, it's vacant, and you're in pre-foreclosure. But again, you go from 47 leads to 3 leads, and you'll understand that once 3 people say no, then you need to build more. So that's why we give you 10,000 records every month. Finally, the last few categories are ownership info. And the big important thing here is choosing whether you want an individually owned property or corporate owned property. And something that didn't become powerful until, unfortunately, last year due to the pandemic is the location of the homeowner. So imagine a senior owner who owns a property and they live in a different state, right? They're probably not traveling because of what's happening nowadays, right? So to be able to control the location could be a big, big thing. Now, I don't care about their location. As long as they're an individual, we're good. We have lien, bankruptcy, divorce filters that you can apply to your search, add more motivation. And then finally, the mortgage area. Because we collect mortgage information, you could say, okay, look, how many of these seniors who don't live in their house, who don't have it rented out because it's vacant, have a mortgage on that house? Because if they have a mortgage, man, they're losing money every month on this property. And there are 7 of them. So this is how the data works. The hard work of buying all this data that was like scattered everywhere and then bringing it together not only allows you to click on a property and know everything about the property, but it allows you to build a list just like I did: senior owner, non-owner occupied, vacant. And when you click on the property, that's exactly what's happening. It's senior owner, non-owner occupied, it's vacant, and whatever other filters that you ask for. And so that's how you can build a list with PropStream and off-market lists. Remember, 4 simple rules. Just kind of do a quick recap of that. I don't care where you're at. You can go to Las Vegas if you wanted to. Once you pull up your market, first thing you need to do is choose a list. Okay? Now, be careful. Not every list is motivation. Like, cash buyers aren't going to sell properties at a discount, so you're not going to want to click on that list. Maybe it's the tax delinquency list. So choose a list. Make sure it's off market, MLS status, off market, no. Make sure it has equity info. Let's do 40% this time. And then go back to top and add your preferences. I'd like a owner occupied property because I'm going to knock on their door. I want property characteristics. I want this owner to own the property for 14 years and be a person when I knock on that door. And then finally, after you add your filters, close, your results are on the right side. You can finally check them off and hit add to lists. Add to lists will allow you to generate a marketing list. You can call whatever you'd like. Vegas tired landlords, right? Because these are tired owners, I should say, because they're not landlords. They live in the house. So I should have put tired owners. But we'll change that later on. But yeah, you can build a list just like I did. So I could use PropStream. If someone called me back and wants to sell their house, I can search their property and analyze it and run a comp on that property. But if I don't have any leads, well, then I just search a market, apply those 4 rules, save these 508 properties. We'll put them in your My Properties folder over here under marketing list. So where's my Vegas tired landlords? Sort of changed that to owners. But now I can check them off and export the data, or I can skip trace it and get phone numbers and emails. or I can go into the campaign area and send postcards, voicemails, and emails. I'm sorry, skip tracing is phone numbers and emails. Campaign is sending the postcards, voicemails, and email marketing. And that's what PropStream can do for you guys. So again, I'm not here to sell. This is what people have been using our system for the last 15 years. Initially, we just started with property details. We weren't necessarily a really big lead generation system. But after many, many, many years and enough data, you just have to add filters for our users to build a list. So guys, my name is Burton. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that you guys have learned a little bit from what our system can do and are able to determine after today whether it's for you or not for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Burton.
You're welcome.
That was great. It's crazy what PropStream has. It's creepy, to be honest. I'll be honest. It's creepy, but it's available out there for everybody. I mean, anybody can go out and buy the software. Anybody can go out and buy the data, but you guys put it all in one place for us. I think Nate has something to say. Let's see. Nate, pulling you up. Hold on one second.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yep.
Hey, man, I just want to say thanks, Burton. And, man, look, I want to tell you guys how valuable this is. When I first started in 2005, I remember going to, man, I want to say Circuit City. It ain't even around no more. And I had to pay $1,800 for a laptop. And then I had to pay $100 a month for this Verizon card that slid in there. And then I used to drive around streets looking for these properties, and I would pull them up, and I still wasn't getting no homeowner information. I would get the name. I would see if they were current on their taxes. But this right here is so efficient. And you guys know in the course, we talk about the value of your time. And you can get skip trace 12 cents if you get a phone number or email. Guys, that's amazing. You can search anywhere in the country. You guys want to know how we were able to scale and grow quick? It was using PropStream and other creative ideas like you guys are doing. But this right here, driving for dollars, come on, man, let them drive for you for pennies. So I would definitely recommend. We do have a free trial that we can give you. Is that right, Burton?
That's right. Yeah, you guys actually have a discount link. So don't go directly to our website after this. Their link will give you guys a 7-day trial with 50 free leads. So if you want to try it out for a week, maybe pull 20 cash buyers, 30 off-market properties, skip trace them if you'd like to, you can. So 50 free leads, 7-day trial. Make sure to click on their links for the discount as well.
Yep, and that's
guys, just go ahead.
All right, that's at natebarger.com/PropStream. So just everything's on natebarger.com. So Nate, go ahead. What were you saying?
Nah, man. So just go on there, guys. Play around with it. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. And see, maybe you could find an amazing deal in your first week. And you can use this here to just get around. You got to start learning, guys. And those of you that keep asking me, where do you find deals at? Man, right here, PropStream.
Yep. Hey, Burton, real quick. There is an app for PropStream, correct, that you can use on your phone?
Yeah. No additional cost once you subscribe. And even if you're in your trial, you can go to the Google Play Store or the Apple Store and download our app. It's just a PropStream app. Just search PropStream. And it's everything I just showed you. So minus the lead generation part. We don't want you to just sit in your car or drive in traffic and try to build lists, right? It's going to cause some issues. So our mobile app is kind of geared for either driving for dollars, if you're going to take that route. You can take pictures of a property and send postcards from the car. But the whole idea with the mobile app is when you're actually at the property, you can search the property and have all that detail I just showed you on your phone. And then you can run comps as well. So it's just kind of like a cheat sheet when you're talking to homeowners. That way you're not fumbling through your paperwork or having to pull out all your technology. It's just pull out your phone, take a look at the details, run a quick comp, and then on with the show.
Yeah, hey, Burton, we do have a couple questions, too. Do you have time? And I know your time is valuable. I appreciate you jumping on here on a Friday night. Well, I think you're in California, so it ain't night yet, right? But
yeah, right, exactly. So, it's always sunny in California. But no, I'm willing to answer any questions that you guys have.